We are meeting guys. I am going to the Met Museum on the weekends. I am eating the best bagels of my life. Life now finally feels exciting. It feels big. I am ready for this. And I was able to actually pick up a job pretty quickly. I was offered a position at a social service agency. I was going to become a legal advocate for $30,000 a year. And I was going to be working with refugee and immigrant populations. And I was actually just reading one of my old journals from that time period. And on that first day of the new job, before I left for work, I actually wrote down, I have the world in front of me, and I believe in myself. So I am so ready for this. After that first day, I am wearing my little pantsuit my mom helped me pick out. I take the bus to the subway, I get there early, and I see the woman who is going to be my new boss, and something just feels a little bit off. And she brings me into her office, she shuts the door, she sits me down, and she looks me dead in the eye, and she says, "You cannot work here, because you are a liar, and you are untrustworthy." Well, that's news to me, because I'm a terrible liar, because in my household, liars went to hell. I am not good at it. I am floored. I have no words. And she proceeds to explain, when I filled out the job application, there was a question that says, have you ever applied to this organization before? Yes or no? I clicked no, because I wasn't thinking about the hundreds of resumes I had sent out that I had applied to a different department for a different job posting that didn't go anywhere. But that meant I was a liar and I could not work there. I don't remember too much else from that conversation, except I do remember walking out the doors crying. I did not know what to do. My last dollars are about to run out. I now have my own overpriced tiny basement studio apartment I need to pay for. I can't go home, so I do what we all do when we don't know where to turn. I got on Craigslist. I am scouring the help wanted ads, and wow, there are a lot of ads requesting pictures of feet. I thought about it, but I did end up finding another job with another organization. They were focused on voter registration. The year was 2008, so to be able to be a part of such a historic election was actually so meaningful and so amazing, and I'm so grateful that I had that experience. I ended up living in New York for 13 years. I went on to have many wonderful jobs. I went back to grad school, I met my partner. It actually did all work out, even though I got fired on my first day. But let's fast forward now to end of 2024. And I am offered another new opportunity, and it's here in Savannah. It's a new job in environmental conservation, something I'm really passionate about. So we pack our bags, we drive south, and I love it. It's going really well. I haven't been fired yet. But at the same time, I find myself starting over again in some truly unexpected ways. My 16-year relationship ended recently, and very, very abruptly, very messy, and in a very painful way. But I have been here before, and I've been thinking a lot about how our life experiences can either chip away at us, or they can chisel us. They can break us down, or they can define us. And we're never done. We're always starting over. You know, I am not done growing. And I am not gonna run away. Because here, I've actually found community. I've managed to build community here in Savannah. And some of it is actually right here in this room, right now. You ladies know who you are. And I think back to what I wrote in my journal on that fateful first day of work. I have the world in front of me, and I believe in myself. Thank you.
Next up, we have Erin. Her story's titled Bunny Girl.
spot is right. Okay. Hi, I'm Erin, and I'm a closet theater nerd. Hi, Erin.
Hi.
I have always loved getting a big laugh. Ever the class clown, the family comedian, the local Vine star back in the day, and just always fully spending it at a costume party. But growing up, I never really loved myself enough to act or perform on a stage, despite always seeing other people doing it and seeing how electric that must feel. But I just lost it. Get it back. But I prioritized a different sort of performance, one that involved perfect grades, Christian youth group, never stepping out of line, the Hope Scholarship, Dean's List, pledging the Legacy Sorority, starving my body, and landing the cushy corporate gig. But performing, the love of that was seeded a long time, whether I knew it or not. It all started in 7th grade. I was fortunate enough to have many great English teachers, as many of us have, but none were more memorable than Tom Weist. Picture this, we're covering Old Man of the Sea, and he has homemade a life-size papier-mâché giant marlin, true to size, and he's hung it in the rafters in our classroom. That's the type of English teacher that we're dealing with. And all these years later, I still won't quite put my finger on his curriculum, but Hemingway led way to Sondheim. And he showed us the original Broadway production of Into the Woods, and I was hooked immediately. So fast forward to junior year of high school, again, still wanting to perform, but not quite having the confidence to do so, I decided to take an elective theater production course. Despite, a private Christian school, you would think we wouldn't have much of an arts department, and we didn't, but we got one. So serendipitously, our semester performance was Into the Woods. And being that Joanna Gleason is a redhead, and I have always, since the early 2000s, had the hips and thighs of a baker's wife, I knew which role I wanted to play. But unfortunately, we had the classic English teacher trope, world-shaping English teacher trope. We had another unfortunate trope, which was the drama teacher who played favorites. And one closed audition later, remember this is high school, closed audition, I took my mark backstage in all black, and the hand-picked stars prepped for the state competition. So lo and behold, on competition day, our handsome prince has forgotten his black boots. Being that I am blessed in the foot department and happen to be wearing a size 11 pair of black boots, I was frantically cast as the barefoot girl in the wings. Luckily my shoes got this moment in the spotlight, but they were returned to me very stretched out and very stinky. Got rid of them immediately. Fast forward many years later now, after lots of imposter syndrome, lots of therapy, little Lexapro, I finally found, recently off it, hey, I have finally found the confidence to perform, and I'm on this stage almost weekly with my friends, and it has been just such a gift. And I owe a major debt of gratitude to many of the people in this room today for shaping me into the performer I'm becoming. I'm really, really honored to share the stage with so many of you, black boots and all.
Thank you, Erin! All right, we're headed this way. Next we have Dan Waterdog.
I like it like this. Okay, it's winter in Connecticut, and I'm on a hiking trail into the woods with my dog. We're hiking to a pond so that she can go for a swim. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I had recently adopted a 4-year-old rescued chocolate lab named Nina. And in her pet finder profile, it said she's a water dog. So I thought, I'm a little bit Norman Rockwell romantic, and I'm living in New England, and I'm thinking, I have a water dog. And I'm going to exercise the opportunity to play fetch with my dog in the water the soonest chance I get. And this was a 40-degree day. Winter had been just about breaking. So we arrived to the pond, and I realized I left the retrieval device, AKA the tennis ball. I left the retrieval device in the car, the back seat of the car. So we're a mile in to our hike. The pond is there, and I'm thinking, there ain't no way I'm spending that kind of time to go back to the car to get the tennis ball. So I did what any man with infinite wisdom would do. I took her off leash, and into the water she went. And she was having a blast. And I paused for a minute. I was really happy with the moment because she was so happy and joyous. And the moment was amazing. But the moment actually turned into 30 or 40 consecutive moments. And I was still standing there on the side of the pond, wondering what the heck is going on with my dog. She won't come when I call. So I'm yelling for her, Nina! Nina, come! Nina, get over here! It didn't matter how loud I yelled for her, she would not come. Just then, a water snake swam past her snout. Next thing you know, she's 150 yards offshore, swimming in tight circles. This can't be good. So I thought to myself, oh my gosh, my dog, who I just adopted, is not going to die today. Not because I'm stupid, at least. So I surveyed the pond, and I thought, how can I get closer to her? And I found a landing off to the right. I took off running, I darted to that landing. I got there, in the emotions of the moment, I stripped off all of my clothes. And there I was, standing behind some grasses that were blowing in the breeze, completely protected from the trail, but in only my boxer shorts. I went in to get her. And as I went into the water, the cold water was tightening up my chest. I was collapsing. I thought, this is what hypothermia feels like. And I'm going through, smelling like sewage. Every step I took, my toes were slipping through the pond scum in the bottom of the pond. And I get right to her, 6 inches away, and she turns and bolts for shore. She was not in any danger. And I was clearly an idiot. So I jumped out of the water. I'm chasing her along the other side of the pond on top of a thorn bush field, well, a field of thorn bushes, barefoot. In the winter, my feet were so cold, I didn't feel a thing. She darts back into the water. I followed her, and then I look up on the trail. There was a family. There was a freaking family watching this whole thing. The father decides to whistle. I didn't think to whistle, so he whistles, she comes. I pull my pasty white ass out in the middle of the winter in Connecticut, in boxer shorts, out of the water, and I'm standing there to retrieve my dog. So on the drive home, I couldn't help but look over at Nina. She was sitting in the passenger seat because clearly I didn't have any say in where she's going to sit. She sat in the passenger seat. I looked at her. Her ears were flapping in the wind because the windows were wide open. The car smelled like sewage. And I saw a smile, ear to ear. And I thought to myself, I didn't go in to save a drowning dog that day. I actually went into a pond because the only thing that was drowning was my sense that I had an illusion that I actually had control. Thank you.
We have worked on it for 60-some years.
Farzine. Her story is called The Entertainer.
Hello.
Hello.
So, I am the child of immigrants. My parents are from Bangladesh. I was born in Iowa. Woo! I moved from Iowa when I was 4 years old to Tucson. And when I turned in my 20s, my mother started to say to me, "Ek shomoy phul fute, tapor shuke jay," which in Bengali means, "Darling, you're a flower, you're blooming, and you're wilting. Please get married." So, naturally, I decided the political science department has a huge affiliation with Michigan. So, I went in the Yahoo Michigan chat room. I had just had gallbladder surgery. And I asked, "Are there any hot white guys in here?" And Troy responded. We dated long distance for 3 years, and then I moved to Michigan in 2010. We got married in September of 2011, and together we bought our townhome together in downtown Detroit, in a famous Irish neighborhood called Corktown. I was trying to keep the memories of throwing Thawats parties alive, because we used to throw parties in Tucson every 2 weeks. And Troy similarly threw a lot of barn parties in Oxford with paper mache spiders in the barns with 500 people. So wasn't trying to get to that level, but almost. So in sum, the Muslim Student Association, I decided to invite some girls over to have dinner at the home. So I cooked some Bengali food, some biryani. We discussed henna. Charmine wore a hijab. Fatima wore a sari like I'm wearing now. And we chit-chatted amongst all the girls from Iraq and Afghanistan. And then they all left and we decided to get together again. Well, Troy at that point had just completed a year of training to become a Shriner clown. And if you know anything about Freemasonry, those names are trademarked. And his name became Rocky, after Rocky's Peanuts in Eastern Market. So I prepared for St. Patrick's Day. And sure enough, after shenanigans and sunshine had been in the parade, they rolled up in their red cars with fezzes, bright and merry, some of them with their tramp outfits on, marching into the house. I served them Lafayette Comey, which is a famous chili in Detroit. Played jazz, we laughed, we played cards. Well, Cobble Hut and our neighbor Lou. Lou was a veteran who designed some of the homes in the neighborhood, and he reminded me of my father. And like my father, he used to shuffle around with the arms behind his back. And he came up to me and he said, "Farzine, Cobble Hut and I want to know, what is going on in your home? Should we be calling the FBI? There's women with hijab and clowns. What's happening?" For 7 years, we lived in that house, and we continued to throw parties, and we became a house of refuge. And we had executives from General Motors all the way to artists from the Center of Creative Studies in Detroit. And we continued that tradition. Later, when we moved to Oregon, it was difficult to find the time to continue this tradition, but I wanted to keep it alive somehow. So I decided to start mailing ourselves postcards. And we mailed postcards talking about what band we saw in Portland, and what restaurant we went to, and what music we were listening to while we were setting up the office. And as life goes on, it got really busy, and I stopped mailing postcards. And one day, I'm in the lobby checking the mail, and the United States Postal Service worker looks at me and he says, "Oh my gosh, you stopped mailing postcards." And it turned out he had looked forward to reading those stories. Ramadan is coming up in a few days, and I look forward to hosting gatherings of non-Muslims and Muslims alike in my home again, and reliving all these wonderful memories that I made together with my in-laws and family. And the one thing I can say is, my father passed away during Ramadan. And so my mother, when I was sick with gallbladder surgery, she had prayed to God that I would live. And so I often think about my father and how I'd like to honor his memory and that of my heritage. Thank you so much.
Next up, we have Justine. Survivor hopeful.
In 2022, I was convinced that I was going to be the next winner of Survivor, despite having 0 survival skills. 4 years ago, I was heading over to my friend Savannah's apartment. It was a Saturday evening. Her boyfriend was in town. He was long distance, and I was crashing their date. But it was okay because I bribed them with free sushi. Who doesn't like free sushi? So when I got there, they had already been watching TV. And the TV was playing a reality show called Survivor. And to this point, I had never seen Survivor or heard of it. And for those of you who don't know, it is a bunch of random strangers who go on an island. They're deserted, no food, no shelter. They're split into tribes and forced to compete in physical challenges. They then have to vote those people that they're with surviving off the land out of the game. And at the end, there's 3 people standing, and those people that they just betrayed and voted out then get to decide who gets to win $1 million. And I am enamored by this. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. So we binge watched the whole season. And I'm like, you know, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to go on this adventure. Because up to this point, I've always played it safe, and I'm ready for this adventure. But I was not the type of person you would imagine winning a game like Survivor. In fact, I was not anything like the person you would think would win Survivor. I was not athletic. The closest thing to a sport I played was the bowling team in high school. And that's the only sport you can play while simultaneously eating French fries. So I was actively moving, while I'm watching the show for the first time, I'm actively moving pieces of sushi from the plastic tray to the nice pretty glass plate so that I could have great presentation for my friends. And there were players on this show getting bitten by sharks, and then they would bite the sharks back. So I was not in this element. So I made a decision that I was going to create a regimented training to become the perfect Survivor player. And I started that day. I signed up for Tough Mudders, where you quite literally crawl through the mud. I went from being a homecoming queen to having myself be the base of a human ladder where strangers were crawling up my body. But I wasn't ready. I still didn't apply. I needed more training. I signed up for improv classes because I thought, what better way to become a social threat in this game than to learn how to read people? Learn how to read people's body language. And I signed up for storytelling so that I could, whenever they pulled me off to the side to do those confessionals, I was going to be America's favorite player. But I still did not apply. I then had my boyfriend build an obstacle course in my backyard where I had a Survivor-themed birthday party where all of my friends came over and were forced to get voted out of my backyard. And the only refreshments we provided were Girl Scout cookies. And they had to win them. So I still, after this, did not apply. So it's not till 2 years later that I'm sitting on the couch and I'm watching a new episode of Survivor, and the host, Jeff Probst, came on the TV and he broke the fourth wall and he goes, "You think you'll be good at this game? Get off the couch. Apply to be on Survivor." And I'm like, he's talking to me, he's talking to me. And then finally dawned on me, wait, I haven't applied. It's been 2 years and I have not applied. So I got up off the couch and I recorded my 3-minute audition video and I sent it in on CBS.com. And I submitted it and I waited. And I waited. A couple months went by and I was like, oh, they have a lot of applications to go through. They're gonna call me. And then finally, season 49 was set to air, and that was the season I would have been on. And I'm sitting on the couch, and I'm like, I'm gonna be on this season. And it wasn't until I watched the episode and I wasn't on it that I finally understood, maybe I just didn't make the cut this year. So it didn't stop me though. I submitted another application, and I made a promise to myself that every year from now on, whether I felt ready or not, I was going to submit a Survivor application video. And I've done it so far. So who knows? Maybe a few years from now, you'll be watching me on national television crying over a coconut with a machete in my hand. Or maybe you won't, but at least I got off the couch.
Shrieks up front row.
Next up, we have Rich. It's titled, Don't Look Down.
It was how I imagined thousands of simultaneously orgasming banshees might sound. In 2015, my best friend Kai and her husband Jim invited me to join them in Loudon, New Hampshire to go see a NASCAR race at the Motor Speedway. My immediate response to that was no, because I was above that. There was nothing educational, there was nothing cultural, and it would be a complete waste of my time. My ideal day would be drive into Boston, do some shopping on the ritzy end of Newbury Street, go out to a 5-star, $5 sign restaurant for dinner, and then go see the latest touring Broadway musical. My uniform of Ralph Lauren shorts and crisp button-down shirt wouldn't really pair well with cut-off shorts, t-shirts, and the occasional outburst of "Get her done!" But I eventually agreed to go, because they were my best friends, and this was, their version of my day in Boston. So, I met them at the track, and we checked out the little fair that they had set up. Food vendors, we checked out you know, the things that would probably not make us shit ourselves halfway through the race. Got some personalized Coke cans, which was fun, and pictures taken with the moose that was dressed up in a NASCAR uniform, Moose Scott, because I'm a whore for mascot photo. And then we went up to the bleachers to find our seats. I sat next to Kai because she was going to be my own personal NASCAR whisperer. And things started off the way that she described that they would. The cars started their engines, the pace car came out, took the cars around the track so things would get warmed up. The green flag was thrown down, the drivers stepped on the gas, and holy shit, the sound that came out of those vehicles, like it did something to my brain. Like the tears just started welling up in my eyes the same way they did when I heard the overture of like a live musical performance. Like it unlocked this raw joy that I had buried somewhere deep down. And it legitimately made me happy. And from there, like you'd think, what could be better than that? The first car drives into the pit. And in literally 12, maybe 15 seconds, 4 tires were changed. The car was completely regassed. They probably did an express oil change too while they were at it. And there was this surgical precision to it. And it was almost like this intricately choreographed dance that they were doing. And it tickled this other side of my brain, that technical, dramatic, like creative side. And it was absolutely amazing. And for the rest of that race, you know, aside from, you know, praying that a flaming tire would be donated to the universe, like I just waited for each of those cars to hit that pit again so I could watch that next dance that these people in the pit were going to do. And I'll forever be grateful for that invitation as much as I didn't want to go, because I think for the first time in my life, I allowed myself to step into something that really made me uncomfortable. I had a great time, and I even went back with them, you know, a few months later to another race, and it was equally as enjoyable. But the one thing that I took away that day was that I had spent so much time walking around with my nose in the air and looking down that I was blind to all the amazing things that were right in front of me. Thank you.
Next up we have Terry. My first boyfriend.
I think that's good. Hey, everybody. Okay, so it's 1972, and I'm just about to go into 5th grade, and my mom got remarried. So I wasn't sure how on board I was with this because I'd never had a father. My own dad had died when my mother was pregnant with me, and he left her with 6 kids, age 7 and younger. So my grandmother moved in with us, and she helped us. And now in our house we had 7 females and 1 young boy, so not a whole lot of masculinity. So I wasn't quite sure of how I was going to handle this dad thing. So we moved into my stepdad's house. And so now I have a new dad, a new home, new siblings, because he had kids too, and now there's 11 kids in our house, and a new school, and 0 friends. So I was feeling really insecure. I just didn't think that I was going to be able to survive this, not knowing anyone. I go into school, and the girls are amazing. They're so great, they're so friendly, they're so welcoming. But the boys, not so much. I'd never met boys like this. They didn't call you by your first names, or they didn't call girls by their first names, so they would just shout your last name at you all the time. And they were girl crazy. The girls weren't boy crazy, but the boys were girl crazy. And I hadn't been used to that, because I was only 11 years old. So there was this one guy especially that was so girl crazy, Steve Alpucci. He was bigger than the rest of them, and he already had pimples on his face. Nobody else in 5th grade had pimples on their face, so you know that his hormones had kicked in. So Steve decides he likes the new girl. Shit. So he used to sit in his, oh wait, I forgot to tell you this part. He actually lived across the street from me. So he would sit in a chair in his doorway, and at the glass storm door, he'd sit behind it, and he would just stare at my house to see when I was coming and going. So I'd leave my house, and I'd think like, you know, he's creepy. But I still left my house. So I adjusted to this whole new life. I loved my girlfriends, and the town was great. And they had different events that were so cool. Like there was this bonfire that they had every year in the fall. And the whole town would throw this wood in there, and they accumulate this whole big mountain of wood. And the whole town came, and the fire company came, and they lit the fire. And it was amazing. I'd never seen this like spire of flame before. It was beautiful. So I can remember even right now, still, the feeling of that heat from the flame on my face. It was just the most incredible thing I'd ever seen. So the girls and I were all having a great time. The fire company started putting out the fire, and then we suddenly noticed as the crowds were dispersing that all the 5th grade boys had encircled us. They were a little bit further out, but we were like their prey. So all of a sudden they pounced, and we scattered. We were running for our lives. We were swerving through other people, and then I slid in the mud, and I went way under this now smoldering piece of wood, this pallet of wood, and I was scared for my life. So I finally made it home, and then the next day I was at a friend's house, and they acted like nothing even happened. But okay, so that's the way it rolled in this town. So then a few weeks later, I'm in school, and it's our pretzel break, because we did that in Philly. And this kid yells, "Hey, Conway!" I'm Conway, by the way, because you can't call me Terry, because that would be my first name. So he says, "Come here." So I go over, and he goes, "You know, Pooch likes you. Pooch wants to go with you." So going with you meant that he wanted to be your boyfriend. And I was having none of that. I was 11 years old. Forget that. That whole idea scared me. So he could tell. And this kid, Kevin Pearson, 5th grade, was intimidating as hell. He's really tall, and he looked down at me and he said, "If you don't go with Pooch, nobody's going to go with you in your life. Ever." So I'm in a Catholic school, so I'm not saying this word, but I was probably thinking like, oh fuck. So I didn't know what to do. I had to make this choice. This was my whole life. I mean, I want a boyfriend now, but I wanted one eventually. You know, I wanted to go to the prom. I wanted to get married, and I'm learning now that that's not going to be possible unless I go with Pooch. So I say yes. So now Pooch and I are a couple, and you know, things really changed. So now he called my house every day, and I hung up. And he still sat in the front door and stared at my house. But now I went through the back door, through a parking lot of this apartment building, climbed over a stone wall. So it was pretty much easy wherever I went. That's all I had to do. So 6 months of this, and I finally decided, like, I have a voice. I don't have to do this. What am I doing? So I went up to Rocky Cassidy. By the way, my Rocky was no clown. And I told him that Pooch and I were going to break up. That was it. And we did. So Pooch moved on. He started dating a girl that had boobs. I was just myself. And I thought, you know what? This is good. I don't need to be intimidated at 11 years old to be something that I'm not gonna be. So I guess you could say, I screwed the pooch.
Ray! Rachel wears a dress.
I have always hated wearing dresses. There's a picture that I have, it's from 1960, and I'm sitting on the steps of the porch along with 5 other kids. It's my birthday. I'm turning 5 years old. Everyone there has a great big smile on their face except for me. I'm frowning. I'm scorning. Why? My mother made me wear a dress. I get a party dress on and party shoes on and I just can't stand it. I always hated wearing a dress. It felt not intimidating. I felt less than when I wore a dress. And the scariest thing to me is that when you wear a dress, and you're like me, I was active. There are times when you might fall and people would see your underwear. You know what would happen? I see London, I see friendliness, I see race underpants. There were other verses of that too. And I know because I said them to other people. But it just was humiliating to me. Well, my mom and my dad, they caught on pretty soon and they never gave me dolls as a presents. I got stuffed penguins and stuff. I got a football, I got hockey skates, and things are still pretty good. I had 2 buddies in the neighborhood, Jimmy and Johnny. So when I got home from school, we took my dress off, changed into my pants, we'd go out and play pass, defender, and receiver, and all that kind of fun stuff. But then, puberty hit. Y'all remember that? I remember. It was while I was in the movie theater watching The Planet of the Apes. The stakes are going to be higher now. Are you there, God? It's me, Ray Ray. What the fuck? Anyway, junior high school. The stairs are now made out of metal grids. You can see right through them. And as you go up the stairs, you're going up these stairs, you start going up here, and the boys over here, they're watching you underneath, seeing all your underwear. Oh, it's just miserable, 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 miserable. And then came high school. Now in high school, things changed dramatically. I remember I was in 9th grade. I was in English class. We had a pig of a teacher. Ooh, we had a pig of a teacher. And it's a Friday afternoon, and an announcement is coming over the loudspeaker. And it is the principal. And he is saying, starting Monday, girls are gonna be allowed to wear pants. It was 1971. I never wore a dress again. I never went to school in a dress again, never wore one again. But 20 years go by. Now, I am living around here. I'm living out in Tommy. I got a good job out there, not making quite enough money. So I get myself another job. And like some of you here in this room, what's a great job to have when you're in Savannah, Georgia, and that is tour guide. So I decided I'm going to get my tour guide license. And, oh, this is weird. I wasn't going to throw this in there, but why was I going to get my tour guide license? It took a lot of studying in order to get a tour guide license back in the day. 100-question test and all that. And I was going to have a little time in my hands because I was going to have a hysterectomy. Woo! And I had to recover. So I studied the book, I get the job, I'm driving the trolley for Gray Line Tours. They're part of the Historic Savannah Foundation. They're sort of the official tour. Now, I enjoy driving the trolley, but I really aspired to do the grand tour. The grand tour, you had a little minibus that you drew. And it would go in 2 of the mansions, 2 of the historic homes, and we could give the tours ourselves. And there was only one catch. They had a dress code. The men are supposed to wear ties and suit jackets. The ladies are supposed to wear dresses. And I said, I can do this. I can rock this. I really can. I know I needed some guidance. I'd never bought a dress in my life. But my fellow tour guide, Sue Preterius, she told me that you want to get one with a really big full skirt. Because when you climb up in the bus, you have to, lift the skirt up, and you know what can happen. I said, oh, I know what can happen. So, I got a dress with this great big, huge skirt, kind of long. I'm going to be good. I do the tour. I make good tips. And instead of running home and getting out of my dress, I say, you know what? I'm going to rock this a little bit. This is kind of fun. I think I'm going to go down to River Street and got some money in my pocket. I'm going to have a good time doing this dressing. And I had to pee. I had to pee, and I knew about this secret restaurant, not the secret restaurant, restroom, secret restroom. It was just, you go up the stairs a little bit, and then you go in the back, and there's this restroom. I go do that, and I come back, and now I'm really rocking it. I got myself a little purse. I'm cruising down the street. I'm trying to do a little hip action. I'm really having a good time. And I hear behind me, Miss. And he comes closer, and the guy, he taps me on my shoulder. He says, ma'am. I had tucked my entire skirt in the back of my pants, and it was just a I have not worn a dress since.
Mary!
Yeah!
I break for trees.
It's actually Mary Grace. Mary Grace! Happens. Alright. My first time was with my brother. Driving, that is. So for some context, yes please.
There you go.
So for some context, I grew up in Florida, and actually can I have a stand?
You got it.
Sorry, Vicky. So basically, this year was 2013, it was winter break. I had just gotten my learner's permit. I was 15 and a half. For context, like I said, I was 15 and a half, and you can get your learner's permit the day you turn 15. And so I was always the oldest in my class because I was a June baby, Gemini, I think, and I also got held back in kindergarten for some stupid reason. So basically, I was always the oldest in my class, and I was really proud about it for some reason, and because I was convinced, like, oh yeah, I can vote first, and then I can also get my license first. But I was really anxious as a child, and I was really afraid to get my learner's permit, and so my 15th birthday came and went, and I came to freshman year of high school, and people were like, oh, you're 15 already? Did you get your learner's permit? And I had to be like, no. And then as the semester went on, people that were younger than me were getting my learner's permit, and I'm like, this is just embarrassing. So finally, over winter break, I bite the bullet, I do all the thingies you need to do to get your learner's permits. And I get it a couple days, I think a couple days before Christmas. And then, it was the week after Christmas where, you don't know what day it is, you don't know what you're doing, just everything is kind of in a lull. And I'm begging my parents, hey, I want to drive. Can you please teach me how to drive? And I think, looking back when I originally wrote this, I thought my parents were too anxious to teach me how to drive, which is valid. But now I realize, I'm pretty sure, so I'm the youngest in the family, and I just do not think they wanted to, let that go, the fact that their youngest child could legally drive. So I was just waiting and waiting. And so like December 27th, December 28th, my mother makes my brother and I do some required brother-sister bonding. We get lunch somewhere, and then we end up at my brother's former high school, my current high school, in the parking lot of his baseball field, because he was going to meet his baseball coach and hang out with him, because my brother low-key peaked in high school. Love you, Jimmy. That's true. All right. We're waiting for his friend and his coach to come, and he looks at me. He turns the radio down. The music that was playing was was Royals by Lorde, because that was, if you remember 2013, that was literally, that and Malcolmore were literally the only songs on the radio, apparently. He looks at me, turns the radio down, and says, Mary Grace, what we're gonna do now is your first driving lesson. My heart rate goes up. I'm like, Jimmy, are you insane? Is that even legal for it to be your brother in Florida? Like, that's insane. Like, I can't do this. Mom and Dad are gonna kill us. And he's like, just relax. And so we're circling around this baseball parking lot, and like my foot's on the brake all the time. And like I can literally hear my heartbeat in the radio, and my brother has whipped out his like iPhone 5 or whatever the big iPhone was that year, and is filming me, butthead. And it's actually going pretty well. You know, I'm kind of in the zone. I'm terrified what my parents are gonna think, but I'm kind of enjoying myself. And then I make the very teeny, rookie, minor mistake of, mistaking the brake for the gas. And I hit the gas for some reason, as much as I possibly could, and we're going straight and fast and straight and fast into the tree. Not all the way into the tree, but almost to the tree. And honestly, like, I was asked, so wait, did you hit the brakes or did your brother take over and hit the brakes? I honestly do not remember. But the moral of the story, not moral, but the thing is, I didn't end up hitting the tree, and I lived. And looking back, and so did Jimmy, yeah. Yeah. And when I look back at that, I just think it just reminds me of the fact that, whatever I go through in life and whatever, thing I want to take on, my family, but especially my brothers, I have 2 brothers, Joe, you'll get your story one day. My brothers will always be there to, help me take the first step and push me, even when I don't feel like being pushed, and I am forever grateful for them. Great. Thank you.
We got 3 storytellers. Next one is Hillary. Christmas Eve Kismet.
Gus. No. Gus.
Okay, got it.
Gus. Gus, Kitzel, Georgie, and Blitzen. I loved these cats with all my heart when I was a kid, except none of them were mine. Nope. I had a love on other people's cats because I was forbidden to have a cat of my own. To be fair, it was my fault. My mom, she was willing to let me prove through getting me some gerbils that I could be a good pet owner. But it didn't work out as I had planned. What I learned instead was that when gerbils that are put into a dark basement because they make a lot of noise at night and you can't sleep, and you forget about them, they turn into a thing called gerbil cannibalism. And, yeah, for survival. So, oops. And, once that happens and you become a gerbil killer, things like go downhill in your head. And you start to believe that you're gonna become the killer of all living things. And so that is what I believed and why I always thought it was safer for me to be with other people's cats, and so did my mom. And every night I would just pray that when I grew up, I'd become one of those responsible adults that was able to both love a cat the way that I could and keep it alive. That was my dream growing up. And, you know, I grew up and I had the chance. And when that chance happened, I turned out that I couldn't do it. I was absolutely terrified. I kept taunting myself with once a killer, always a killer, like going through my head. And so I just never made it to the cat shelter because deep inside, I truly believed that they were safer in the shelter's cage than being in my home with me. And that's a pretty cheap thing to walk around with. But one Christmas Eve, my friend Christine calls me in a panic. She is absolutely desperate, looking for people to help her pack her house up because she's about to go on this like huge big move. And being Jewish, I was like, okay, of course I'll come help you pack on Christmas Eve. And so I get to her house and I'm sent into the kitchen. And there's boxes and I move this one box. And next thing I know, this big cat jumps out at me. And I was like, ah, oh my gosh. And the reason why I jumped back and I was so surprised because I didn't even know Christine had a cat. And I felt terrible because the house was chaotic and everything was in disarray. And here was this poor cat's like safe space. And I totally disturbed it. So pulling together all the things that I knew about cats from loving on other people, I got down onto the floor, really calm, really quiet, and I put out my hand, and the cat came and he sniffed it. And I was like, oh, awesome. And he like rubbed my leg. And for the rest of the night, when I was packing up, he was my buddy. He didn't leave my side. And so a couple of hours later, Christine walks into the kitchen and she says, oh my gosh, have you been with Omar this whole entire time? And I was like, ooh, yeah, I love your cat, Christine. I didn't know you had one. He's awesome. And she says, really? Really? I'm so confused because normally Omar hates people. I mean, really hates people. Like, he is so aggressive and he destroys things. And we're moving to Abu Dhabi in a couple of days and we can't take him and nobody wants him. So tomorrow, we're actually, Christmas Day, we're putting him at the shelter. Hey, unless, do you want to take him? And I was like, oh shit, I'm a killer. What am I going to say? And then Omar looks at me and I look at Omar, and next thing you know, I'm like, yes! Yes! I'll take him! And then Christine turns around and says, will you take his sister, Molly, too? And I was like, yes! I'll take her too! And so on Christmas morning, I went with my boyfriend then and my husband now, Matt, who did know something about cats, to pick up Omar and Molly and take them home with me. And I wish I could say that it was amazing and it was great and it was a fairy tale and I was like the best cat owner ever, but that wasn't true. Oh my gosh. Being a cat owner is hard and I really struggled in the beginning. I mean, really struggled. And the thoughts in my head of like, once a killer, always a killer, and like, why didn't I let Christine let the cats go to the shelter? Like, that's how much I still was nervous. But I had Matt, and his guidance and his support helped me to not give up on myself. And it didn't matter how many messes I made, because Omar never gave up on me, and I never gave up on him. Not want for 16 fucking years. Because that night, there was pure and simple kismet.
Next up, we have DC. Two more storytellers. DC, Glass House Hunting.
I might blow myself just a little bit, just to feel comfortable. I know what they're doing. Well, I'm not using it anyway, so I can start. All right, cool. All right, around the age of 9 years old, I am a narcissist. Meaning, I'm also an actor. And since I'm also an actor, bye-bye. Since I'm also an actor, that also means I need work. And so I'm always going around, I'm doing community theater, I'm a part of the Drama Kids Association after school, but I need a big break. I mean, like, just something huge. I want to be the coolest kid on school. Like, it's all about me. I'm a narcissist. And so, another way of putting it, I want to be on Disney Channel with Selena Gomez. And lo and behold, my mom gives me a golden goose opportunity. I am being picked up from daycare. And as she's picking me up from daycare, she goes, hey, I got some great news for you. We're going to be on TV tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, this is my moment. This is my big break. This is, again, it's all about me. And so, I don't even know what show it is. I'm just happy to do it. And I go to sleep early. I wake up around 6 a.m. I shower. I have my Fruity Pebble Cinnamon Toast Crunch hybrid to know it's going to be a great day. And so around 10 a.m., I hear a knock on the door. And as I hear the knock on the door, I get up, I open it up, and I just see a bunch of big burly men with camera equipment, followed by a really sweet old lady who comes up to me and goes, hello, my name is Sherilyn Matthews. Nice to meet you. And I have no clue who she is whatsoever. But then she says, I am the producer of House Hunters on HGTV. Do you know what House Hunters is? And I am 9 years old, and I say, yes. Because I want work, and that means I will lie if it means I can have my big break. And so, I look up and I say, yes, I've been a huge fan of the show since first grade. And she goes, wow, you're a really literate child. Thank you for being here. So, you know how it operates. I go, yes. And then I handed her my headshot and resume. Because I will get this job no matter what. And so, she's looking back, going, wow, this is such a great kid. I go, thank you, I do my best. I can do the Muppets if you need. She goes, oh, that's not necessary. And so, she goes, can you show us around the place? So I do. I bring her back to my room along with the other camera people. I show her my really awesome Lightning McQueen Cars bunk beds. And I'm just thinking, yeah, this is my chance to show my personality. Acting is a personality hire. So this is how I gotta do it. And so she's really impressed with the place and goes, okay, so DC, you've been around. That means when we get to your scenes, you'll be our very special guest. I'm going, thank you. Thank you. She goes, but we're gonna hold off for a little minute. So about 3 hours passes, they're already shooting some other stuff. They pull me back in and they say, actually, we're gonna shoot a dinner scene. And I'm thinking, oh, I can do a dinner scene. I've watched every E.T. scene at that table for so long. I know what I'm doing. And so she goes, here's what we're gonna do. She guides me back to my kitchen, and they made the kitchen look smaller on the camera, so that way it looked like me and my mom were poorer. And so, what would end up happening is apparently our dinner was actually my Lunchables box that was already in the fridge, which meant I had to go a little bit method right here, and I was really excited. And so I'm tearing through my food, having the time of my life, and my mom immediately just goes, damn, hey, no one's taking it from you. And of course, well, Sherilyn goes, stop, that's perfect. In fact, Shantae, do that line again. And I'm like thinking, oh, okay, we're getting a close up on me now. And so they push the cameras in on me and my mom. She says her line. I'm thinking, yeah, this is it. This is where the real filmmaking is. This is how I get on Jimmy Neutron. This is my mindset. And so she goes, all right, now, DC, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring you back to your room. You're gonna meet our other actor here, Andre, and you're going to actually play your Nintendo Wii with him. You just do whatever you want. You can beat him as many times as you want. We're just gonna get some B-roll footage. And I'm thinking, yeah, this is it. This is how I get my start. So I beat the brakes off this man on Super Smash Bros. And at one point I noticed he's like acting a little bit. He says something about whoever wins this gets to stay on my top bunk tonight, which made me a little uncomfortable considering I've never met this man before. But I recognized this is, all right, we can work with that. And so we finished our shoot, and about 7 to 9 months later, the episode finally comes out. We're having a big watch party, family and friends are there. Everyone's like, yeah, this is great. And I'm just ready, I'm in the zone. The episode comes out, and they cut me out of the entire thing. So my heart is broken. Everyone else is going, wow, Shantae, you did so great. They're popping champagne, and I'm really crying in the background. And my mom notices, says, hey, remember, it's not always going to be about you. And so she gives me that bit of wisdom and goes back and gets drunk off of her fucking shit. And I had to sit back and realize, yeah, I guess it's not always going to be about me. But upon realizing that it was never always going to be about me, that means I'm a much better person when it comes to supporting my fellow actors, which did get me a lot more jobs down the line. Meaning, when my big break hits, I will be on screen with Selena Gomez.
All right, you guys ready for your final storyteller? We have Val at the Waffle House.
Hello. So, I low-key love it when people ask me where I'm from. I'm from Clemson, South Carolina area, and I usually get, oh, Clemson, did you go to college in Clemson? And I get to say, no, ma'am, but I did go to jail there. My favorite uncle, my Uncle Craig, told us kids growing up, everybody deserves one night in jail. I really took that to heart. I really look up to my uncle. He's the cool uncle with no children. He's the guy at the family reunion with the good weed in his pocket. I do not want to let him down. Now, I am a punk rock girl. I know I don't look it, but I keep punk rockerism very deep within my bosom. I take it to heart. The last thing a punk rocker wants to be called is a poser. I really felt like I had that little poser inside of me until I got that one night in jail card. That I'm fully a punk rocker. So, I gave myself a goal. By the time I'm 25, I will complete this. I will do this. Now, I tried very hard over the last few years during this time. I stole a hamster from a pet store. I streaked down my neighborhood with my cousin following me in her Saturn with the high beams on. I hung from a telephone wire. But the magic happened the year 2007. It was Halloween. And 23-year-old Val was traipsing around downtown Clemson with her two friends, Kia, the responsible drunk driver of the night, and John, our friend that just happened to wander up on us and join in our shenanigans. So, we shut the bars down at 2 a.m., and the logical thing to do is to go to Waffle House. It's really where you want to be seen at 2:30 in the morning. We get there, we order our all-star breakfast, we start talking about our night, when John got this mischievous look in his eyes, and he said, I triple dog dare you to make a scene in this bitch. I'm like, yeah. In comes Kia. Don't you fucking do this. Don't be a dumbass. This is a terrible idea. Well, I'm a dumbass. We orchestrate a plan, right? And John and Kia, they go outside to get the getaway car ready. I I would like to let everyone know at this moment it's Halloween night and I am dressed up full on as a pirate. I slowly look around. I grab 2 jars of mustard. I jump out of the chairs and go, "Arr!" and spray mustard all over the walls, the innocent, hungry civilians, myself, and all over Waffle House. I am not proud of this. I take off outside to the getaway car. It's gone. Alright, fuck. I got scared. Next thing I know, 4 cop cars are coming in the parking lot with their blue lights flashing at me, and that's when the little poser inside of me started to come out. And I'm starting to think maybe this wasn't such a good idea after all. This looks like a very expensive fine. So I do a 180 towards the woods where I know there's a boardwalk along the lake. I get there and I just take off running in my giant pirate boots. I should have jumped in the lake because the Clemson PD had no problem finding out where I was going. They just followed my footsteps. I came out in the Wendy's parking lot thinking I'd gotten away with it. Poser be damned, I'll be her. And I hear this loud voice yell, "Man!" I'm like, shit, all right, I'm still posing in. You can talk your way out of this. You do this all the time. Just smile. So I look and I smile, and then I realize I'm covered in mustard. I'm dressed like a pirate. There's no fucking way I'm talking my way out of this. So I'm like, all right, that's it. Tonight's the night. I got this. So I walk up to them, and they're like, "Why'd you do it?" And I'm like, "Because it was punk rock." They just look at me. They call Waffle House. They gave me an ultimatum. I can either go back to Waffle House and clean up my mess, or I can go to jail. Take me to jail, I said. They handcuffed me. They pushed my head into the cop car, just like the movies. I got to the jail cell. I got my fingerprints taken. I smiled for the picture because they told me not to, and I get locked up in my cell for the night. It was amazing. I woke up the next morning, so happy that my fishnet thigh highs are still stuck on my legs. Doctor. I look to my left and there's this Hardee's biscuit stuck in the cell door for me. This is a great jail. I was like, I should leave them a review. The officer that let me out that day, he was laughing, and I looked at him, he said, "I've seen your surveillance video." I'm like, "Can I see it?" He's like, "No, you can see it, go." Led me to the receptionist where I had to make my phone call for my ride home. I was still drunk this morning. I told him to call my mom. Please just call my mother. She's not the strictest person. I grew up signing my own report cards, but I knew she was gonna think that this was a DUI. I knew the whole way to come and get me, she was gonna think what her daughter's life is gonna be like now that she's on a moped. She told me she will never forget that morning. She's pulling into the Clemson police parking lot. She sees her daughter with mascara all down her face, mustard everywhere, waving bye to the random police officer she met that morning. I get in the van and I say, "Mom, don't worry. It's not a DUI." I didn't tell her about the $700 fine that I was facing. I made it to my dog grooming job that morning. Which was good because I needed the extra money. Later that evening, I called my uncle. I told him the good news. I told him the story. We laughed about it, and we were like, it's a small price to pay to the punk rock gods. Now it's when he gave me the advice that I will carry for the rest of my life. Never, ever get caught again. So far, so good.